say, yeah. Let me hear you say, yeah.
Hello, Ms Laurie here. How are we doing on our big adventure? So today we're going to learn about the heart of God. And we have been learning about the heart of God, but I'm going to show you a picture first. So I'm going to show you this picture of this pile of logs. Do you see that? I'm also going to show you a picture of a forest. Now, what if I told you that there was a man standing right in the middle of both of those pictures? You didn't see him? Well, here, I'll circle him for you. Do you see that? He's right here. There's his face, his body, even his feet. He has basically painted himself to match his surroundings. This one too. Do you see him? This one I think is a little bit easier to see once you know what you're looking for. So this man, he has made a bunch of pictures with him standing and being hidden. But that means even though you didn't see him, he is still there in the pictures, just like we're going to talk about today in our Bible story. Now this happened before Jesus came in one of these bodies, and it's about Elisha, the prophet. There's a king, but there's a king of Aram, and then there's the Israelites, which is God's chosen people. So let's get into the word. I'm going to be reading from 2 Kings chapter 6, verse 8. When the king of Aram was at war with Israel, he would confer with his officers and say, "We will mobilize our forces at such and such a place." But immediately Elisha, the man of God, would warn the king of Israel, "Do not go near that place, for the Arameans are planning to mobilize their troops there." So the king of Israel would send word to the place indicated by the man of God. Time and again, Elisha warned the king so that they would be on alert there. The king of Aram became very upset over this. He called his officers together and demanded, "Which of you is the traitor? Who has been informing the king of Israel of my plans?" "It's not us, my lord the king," one of the officers replied. "Elisha the prophet in Israel tells the king of Israel, even the words you speak in the privacy of your own bedroom." "Go and find out where he is," the king commanded, "so I can send troops to seize him." And the report came back, "Elisha is at Dothan." So one night, the king of Aram sent a great army with many chariots and horses to surround the city where Elisha was. When the servant of the man of God got up early in the morning and went outside, there were troops, horses, and chariots everywhere. "Oh, sir, what will we do now?" the young man cried to Elisha. "Don't be afraid," Elisha told him, "for there are more on our side than on theirs." Then Elisha prayed, "Oh Lord, open his eyes and let him see." The Lord opened the young man's eyes, and when he looked up, he saw that the hillside around Elisha was filled with horses and chariots of fire. Wow, horses and chariots of fire. Those were God's warrior angels surrounding Elisha and the servant. Now, even though they didn't see him, they were still there. So when Elisha prayed, he wanted the servant to see, and so that we can know, way far in the future, we can know that there are hosts and armies of heavenly angels surrounding us too. So even though we're going through this difficult time now, we know that we are protected. And that is the heart of God, protection for his children. All of us who have asked Jesus into our hearts have continued to know that the Lord protects us, that heavenly angels surround us, and that we are in God's hands. In Hebrews, it talks about in chapter 1, verse 14, therefore, angels are only servants, spirits sent to care for people who will inherit salvation. Now, what does that mean, who will inherit salvation? If you've asked Jesus into your heart and you live for him, he has his heavenly angels ministering to us, caring for us, taking care of us. So we can have that peace and assurance to know that Jesus is with us, even though we don't see him. Heavenly angels protect us, even though we don't see him. There's evidence. And here's another thing, that when I'm out in my garden, there's evidence that there have been snails and slugs eating my plants. I have these favorite plants out there, and I can go out in the morning and there is evidence that they have been eating them. But if I go out at the night and try as I might, I can't find them. I don't see them. But the next morning, I definitely see the evidence. We know that God, in the same way, there is evidence that he works and protects us because he loves us and we are his children. So we're never alone. And even the disciples had trouble believing in something not seen because they didn't see that Jesus had risen from the dead yet. When the women ran from that grave, that tomb site, and told them, Jesus has risen, they didn't believe him at first. So Jesus, when he appeared to the disciples afterwards, after he was resurrected, he said, "You believe because you have seen me. Blessed are those who believe without seeing me." So Jesus had appeared to them after the resurrection, and they did see. But the Lord knew it was going to be difficult for those of us who haven't seen him. He knew it would be difficult, so he said, "Blessed are those who have not seen and yet believe." Now, as a reminder of today's story, I've got a coloring page here of Elisha. And do you see the chariots of fire right here, those horses and chariots? I want you to print that out. Click the link below. I want you to print it out, color it, put it in your room, knowing I am not alone. God protects me. We're in these scary times where we have to stay home and we're being protected from this virus. But you know what? We have to know that as we are making good memories during this time, that we want to remember that Jesus is with us, that his heavenly angels are with us, and he is protecting us. Even though we don't see him, we know he's there. Just like in this tractor picture, you see just a tractor, right? Well, there is a man standing right in the middle of it. Now that you see it, do you see him right here? His head and his body and his clothes? It's almost like now that you see him, you can't unsee him. So make sure that you're looking for that evidence that Jesus has given you a peace, that he has surrounded you by your family and your friends, and you're able to talk to them and know that the Lord is protecting them. If you haven't asked Jesus into your heart, do that right away. Just say, "Jesus, I want you in my heart, because even though I can't see you, it's by faith that I believe that you are with me, that you're in my heart, and that you are protecting me and love me." So next time we will gather together, because I haven't seen you. Even though I'm sitting here talking to you, I can't see you, but I know you're there. There are many ways that we can look and see evidence of God protecting us and him working in ministries through us. So I'll see you next time. Ms. Laurie loves you. Jesus loves you. Bye.
All my friends